Hey everybody, welcome to South Olympic Branch update number 20. It's my impression of a crossing flasher. Must be the paint fumes. So here I'm working with the sculpt mold, and I thought I'd show what that process looks like. First I mixed it up in about a 1-to-1 mixture as the instructions say. Sometimes I'll add a little more water if I want it to kind of flow a little more. And then I'm just taking this plastic knife and just slathering it on here, and you'll notice it's not very neat at all. You'll also notice that my gloves are not clean, the knife is not clean, and the cup is not clean. It doesn't really need to be for this process. So after I slather some on with the knife, I'm just taking my gloved hand, which is a nitrile glove, by the way. That's probably pretty obvious, but I thought I'd say that. And I'm just using it to kind of tap and push it into place. As the product hardens, it'll actually be able to be just formed by my fingers. If you look right in the middle of the video here, you'll notice there's a little bit of the Sculpting mold that's just kind of like hanging out there. This is one of those things I love about this product. I'm just going to tap it a little bit, brush it a little bit, and voila, that little imperfection disappears. In the last video, I had talked about how I painted part of my landscape with the Rust-Oleum satin espresso, some of this pink insulation foam. And I'd also talked about how it was a little dark. Well, I picked up a can of Krylon camouflage I've heard some guys talk about online, and I painted over some of the stuff with it. It is a better color for this. It's not quite covering the brown, but by the time I get done with putting scenery and stuff on there, you wouldn't be able to see it. There is a couple places where I'm going to go over it again. However, the one thing I will say about this stuff is that it stinks a lot worse than the Rust-Oleum does. Up front for the contour of the riverbed here, I've got this white beady foam, and it's different, of course, than the pink stuff in texture, and I was wondering if it would react differently to the paint. Well, this is what happens to that when I try to paint it with the Krylon. You can't really tell in the video, but it eats it. So, not going to be able to use that on that. I cut out and painted a couple of more pieces of foam to help build the scenery around this. And I think that's going to work pretty well. I also found on Amazon, of all places, some 1 foot by 1 foot 1/2 inch pieces of pink foam insulation board. So I'm going to cut that and replace that stuff, the white beaded stuff in there. And that way I should be able to paint it with the same paint. So I'm filling in the ditch over here, and then I'm working on the plan for the industries off of the main here. I think I'll leave this line at this level, and then off this line there'll be a grade. You look down there, you'll see some blocks that are screwed to the supports coming out there, and then that's going to be 1.25 inches above this piece here, like it is on the other side where the chemical plant's going to be. And we'll see how that looks. I may change that, make it different, but right now that's what I'm looking at. And just to see how it looks, I put this piece of plywood up here. I didn't really plan on it being pretty even with the top of the foam scenery I put on the riverbank down there, but that works okay for me. And then I'm thinking I might just come along here and I might take this piece and cut this and then let this piece drop down so that it helps with the slope right there. Another thing I've got going on today is that I picked up these backdrops that I had printed down at Sir Speedy in Tacoma. And these are ones that I made. I recorded, or I should say, I took a panorama with my iPhone 12 Pro and then edited it in Photoshop Elements, and it came out pretty good. The trees on this end are far too large. I don't know why I didn't notice that when I was monkeying around with it on the computer, but I'm gonna have to either hide those with a hill or cut off the end of that backdrop. This backdrop is 8 feet long, and I've got another one just like it that is the reverse image of it. So I can take that one and I can butt it up against the other end of this, and it has 16 feet of flexible background. It's printed on PVC. So just grab that. You can see I'm flexing it like that. And so I can bend that around corners and things like that. It's been a nice enough fall day to get some cutting done outside where I have a little more room. So I went and got another sheet of plywood, and since I was down in Tacoma anyway, and got this section cut out for the upper deck. So I don't know how any of the rest of y'all do this, but you know, I just mark them. I just set my square to the height I want above a riser and put a couple pencil marks on it. So when I put it on the riser, or put it on the brace, I've already got my height marked there, and I can just clamp it on and screw it on. You probably didn't even need to know that part. Okay. You know the drill. It's not a great countersink bit. It does the job, kinda. Okay, with both pieces of ply in place and a slot cut to make this come down a little bit, will match up with the grade here, which will actually be on top of cork, so it won't actually be as low as that. Then it can come up here, and I've got about 42 inches or so between the end of the rise in here, and I have to put a number 4, number 6 switch in, and allow my switching area here to industrial area to have railroad access. I might forego this rise completely, but I like to have some up and down in the railroad. Turns out the bridge piers need to be a little bit shorter, so I'm hacking away at it. This is just a Zona razor saw, in case you're wondering. Okay, so that's both those bridge piers have been cut. I'll set things in here. We'll see how this looks. And let's drop that in here. And just gonna position those a little bit. Let's get that a little bit there. There. So there's a little bit of wobbliness in there, which I'll have to fix. by putting some shims underneath probably the opposite corner of the bridge. Let's back off here a little bit and see. And there you go. That looks pretty good. I think my next step will be to get out the pink insulation foam that I showed you earlier and cut that and replace this. And I like it. I painted more of the pink insulation foam tonight, but I goofed and painted the wrong side of that one. So didn't notice that until it dried, and doesn't matter, I'll just have to redo it and get the other side. And I painted some little pieces to go back there against the backdrop and fill in where this backdrop doesn't drop low enough in this area. And I think it's going to look good. Okay, I got that other part of the gravel bar base printed. And I've glued a couple of pieces back there together. You might see some T-pins sticking out of there. And put some of my fakey trees in there for testing purposes. I think then I'm going to call that a wrap on update number 20. And we'll catch you all next time.